Hey, what's up, everyone? Your man Sean Zittel here, live from Allegiant Stadium as Terence Crawford just proved me wrong, proved a lot of people wrong, and cements himself as one of the all-time greats, S-tier, top tier. Gets to, as my man Sam Gordon just texted me from San Francisco Chronicle, gets to sit at any table. And coming into this fight, you know, I had Crawford number one pound for pound back in 2017. I always acknowledged him as the best counterpuncher in the game, one of the great counterpunchers. But I didn't see him as Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson. I didn't see him as that. I saw him as the tier of greats right below that. Oscar, Shane, Mike McCallum, guys like that. And it turns out, no, he's with the best of the best. Let's talk about the great fight he fought tonight. Canelo came out, as he always does, starts well, lots of feints. I thought Canelo, was feigning more and had better positioning early. But once Crawford, here's where the fight really swung to Crawford. It was a competitive first 3 rounds, nip and tuck. Crawford a little more accurate, but in the start of the 4th round, Crawford opened up and really had a dominant first minute. And Canelo was persistent in the last 2 minutes, and then that started to be a little bit of a pattern, and I wondered if Crawford would get jobbed on the scorecards, because then he started making the habit of starting the first minute beautifully. He did that in the 4th, either the 6th or the 7th, definitely the 7th. He did it in the 7th. I think he did it in the 4th, 6th, 7th, and 9th. And then he would take his foot off the gas, and I'm like, okay, now you're giving a reason for the judges to find a way to rob you for the bigger name fighter in Canelo. But then in 10, 11, I mean, the fight was really over in the 11th. He stood in the phone booth with Canelo, took some of those looping, old school Triple G type looping right hands over the top, those anchor shots, and he ate him no problem. Early, the left hooks to the body, they didn't slow him down. There's a few times Canelo got him where he wanted him to shell up inside and pounded on his arms, which usually would wear a guy down coming up from 54, but it just never happened. The power never took effect on Crawford. I know Crawford felt it, but he had good punch resistance. He came up in weight beautifully. And then as time went on, his jab and his length, it's around that 3rd and 4th round, really started to give Canelo fits. And then, number one, his bread and butter, his gift. Yes, he's got great tactics, great distance control, efficient footwork. He doesn't, and he took the air out of the ball when he wanted to in this fight. And again, I thought at times I was playing with fire on the scorecards, and it wound up being 116, 112, 115, 113, when it really was 118, 110, 117, 111. But in the 11th round, he makes a stand on the inside, and in the 10th and the 11th, he made a couple of stands that just made it. There's no way you're gonna be able to fuck me in this fight. And then by the 12th, Canelo was a beaten man, and I was giving Canelo credit. He should fight that hard, making over $100 million, but I was giving Canelo credit because he mailed it in a little bit against Dimitri Bivol midway through that loss. After about 6 or 7 rounds, he knew he was a beaten man and didn't go all out. He fought a lot more determined when he was behind on the cards, but you knew once he was behind on the cards, he's in trouble, because Canelo doesn't win from behind. He doesn't adjust. Crawford can do those things. And by the 12th, Canelo was a beaten man. Crawford even rocked him at the bell. And Crawford is one of the great. This is really his gift, though. I was going to say it a minute ago, but it's his counterpunching. He's one of the greatest counterpunchers of all time. I tweeted that after the 4th or 5th round when he was, starting to pull ahead. I said, win or lose, he's one of the greatest counterpunchers of all time. That really is his gift. His counterpunching was incredible. And enough jab, enough movement, enough. I'm going to take a minute and a half out of this round when you're trying to get back from the first minute. I got you. And just great job by Crawford. To be transparent like I've been this whole time, I wasn't a fan of either one of these guys for making this decision to, take this money with Saudi and now, anyways, you guys get all that. But so maybe that affected how I looked at the fight or whatever, but a lot of people saw this coming. A lot of people predicted this. I said, I see it coming, but I'm picking Canelo. Well, whatever. That was my dumbass fault. Shout out to all the people, all the smart boxing money was on Crawford. Even though Canelo was a favorite at the books, everybody I talked to with a high boxing IQ was going Crawford, 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 Crawford. And I started to wonder, is it becoming the trendy, sexy pick? Is it, you know, and no, it's just credit to everybody who picked Crawford. They picked him with high IQ. Canelo was comparatively a low IQ pick. It was just size and coming forward and imposing himself with Crawford, who's not used to the 168 pound. I mean, of course, taking into account Canelo's upper body and defense. And I thought if Canelo dialed that up, he'd be all right. He could win this fight. He did dial it up, but it wasn't enough. And Crawford was just the better man. He beat him inside, outside, side to side. Heading into the fight, I was like, he's not Floyd Mayweather. He wouldn't have beaten Floyd Mayweather. Floyd's hand speed, foot speed, and reflexes were better than his. But Crawford is such a versatile fighter, and he's not easy to predict. You don't know what punch is coming when, and he just boxed a brilliant fight. You know, a masterpiece, not quite. You could argue it's a masterpiece easily because of the stakes and everything, becoming the first to go from 35 to 68. I mean, Henry Armstrong went from 26 to 47. And, you know, obviously held all three belts at the same time. But Crawford going from 35 to 68, yes, you could argue it's a little watered down era compared to the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s. But even with that, even if that's true, it's just 35 to 68 is a ridiculous 33. And to go undisputed, 4 belt, I mean, we all know this stuff. You don't need me to tell you. But it's just a great job by Terence Crawford. As for the other things, though, crowd was dead tonight, and Mexican fans should be disappointed in their support for Canelo a little bit. Yeah, they bought tickets and show up, but they didn't do what Manny Pacquiao's fans did for Pacquiao back in July, when that fan base showed up to the arena early. And sometimes I notice these big fan bases, sometimes they show up to the fight kind of with meh energy, and they're waiting for their fighter to give them something to cheer about. But I noticed the best crowds, they show up ready to help will their guy. They bring that home court advantage right away. And after the weigh-in, I thought, oh my God, you know, even though I went to Dana and everything, this TKO card had crazy energy at the weigh-in. It was pretty dead throughout the night, man. It was dead quiet when Canelo made his ring walk, just like when he lost to Bivol in the T-Mobile. It was dead quiet except for a few spots in the Mobili Martinez fight for the entire undercard. And I mean, I guess everyone's lighting up the pacing of the show after Dana talked about how bad boxing paces everything, and then this was worse paced than some badly paced boxing shows. But back to Canelo. This ain't good, man. You are the guy who is a 4-division champion and a great fighter and all that, but you're the guy who ducked David Benavidez and refused to give him a shot so that you could sell out to Saudi and lose to a former lightweight, really lose to a welterweight. So I like Canelo, always thought he's a great fighter, but this is a big hit for him and his fan base. And even though he's probably walking home with $150 million, I bet he's not going to be feeling too good tomorrow, even with all that money. So money isn't everything. If Canelo would have just done the right thing, he could have fought in Allegiant Stadium tonight or the last 2 years against Benavidez and wouldn't have even needed to get overpaid by some government fund of another country. He could just killed what he eat and then pass the torch to the younger guy, David Benavidez. No, he doesn't want to do that. Decides to fight Crawford, and Crawford beats him. And that's his karma. For Crawford, I know Turkey doesn't want him to retire, but I don't know. I guess there's a few rumblings of a Mayweather fight for some reason on social media. I don't know. But hey, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm probably not even really the guy to listen to on this one tonight. Go listen to all the smart people who picked Crawford and saw this one coming. I saw it coming, but just didn't pick it. Anyways, that's it for tonight. See you all later. Peace.